I got a couple theories, XRP theories. If I can run them by you and just get
Okay.
your idea. These are famous ones that have been around a long time. The idea that XRP was not designed for retail or regular people, it should be exclusive for governments, Illuminati type people, big banks, things like that. What's your feeling on that statement?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Okay.
You want to have the long version or the short version and a snarky comment about that.
Well, whatever you think is the appropriate way to address that one. It's been around for a while.
So yeah, that's bullshit. I mean, XRP started out as a direct competitor to Bitcoin, and then Ripple figured over their history they have to pivot and adopt. That's what they did. So this changed from we are the better version of Bitcoin to we're gonna target banks, we're gonna do CBDCs, we're gonna do cross-border payments, right? A lot of people just came in the last 5 years and sadly don't know the full history. So it's an open decentralized system. Everyone can use XRP. So no one's going to stop you.
Yeah, I remember Nick Bougalis used to get really mad about that too. He'd say, "Who are you to say
Yeah.
what it's for? Like anyone could use it." The idea that XRP, its price shall be pegged using gold or some other mechanism.
Yeah, I think you did fall off the table as a baby if you believe that.
All right. Is there going to be a flip the switch moment where David or some other person at Ripple flips a switch and our dreams come true?
Nope.
And lastly, is it true that you are some form of the CIA or some other operative of some type?
I can neither confirm nor deny. However, the disappointment is killing some people, right? The less you expect, the less the disappointment will be. And that's why I don't hold any XRP. Other the XRP I need to transact. Right? This is to me not a store of value or anything else. If I want to use some XRP because I want to buy something in XRP, I just purchase them. I can only advise use what other people have been built or had built, right? Use some of your XRP. I'm not talking about spend $1,000 on XRP on something, but consider exchanging $25 into XRP and use one of the many services out there. Could be buying an NFT, could be playing poker, enjoy yourself in front of a slot machine utilizing CSC, or buy a shirt from XRPL merch, right? There are so many things you can do. To me, the adoption I want to see is real people using things for real services and products that exist in this ecosystem. Whatever the banks are going to do, who cares? Whatever Ripple's doing, who cares? I mean, a lot of people care, but I don't think this is the way this is going to go big. I can already hear people screaming in the comments. So, handsome viewers, don't get mad at me. It's just a different point of view. Everything will be fine. We will be doing good.
Well, I think a good point is this, when you look at trying to drag banks and all these governments over to using your stuff and what that takes, and what does it take to get a retail user to use an interesting app that makes their life easier? You don't have to go through all this stuff. They're just ready to rock and roll. Hey, I can play some poker, great. I can buy this shirt, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are some interesting use cases that can have immediate, adoption now.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying this. I mean, I said this last year already or long, and other people are saying this long before me. I know, yeah, BlackRock's doing the Bitcoin ETF, whatever, right? So imagine if you're a big bank or BlackRock or Grayscale or whatever, and you're literally shitting money. You can build this yourself with an internal team and pitch this on a very different level than Ripple can. I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm saying there is a high chance those institutions are building their own solutions and they're shilling them to each other, right? And if I would be BlackRock, I would throw a couple of $1 billion at something like this and be like, dude, it's open source. Take the code, build me something like this, and we're just going to sell this to all our customers. Right? Could be wrong, could be right. Not saying Ripple's not doing it. I hope they do it. I hope they're super successful. I hope they can achieve whatever is on their mind. But always keep in mind there are there are other options out there, or other scenarios on how things could play out, right? It's like when people say Bitcoin's going to die. I don't think Bitcoin is going to die. That will be here for a long time. And if Bitcoin dies, we have a serious problem.
Well, I'm sure it'll die because how many times has it died already along the way? But
Yeah.
it always it comes back the next day.
Yeah,
And
the
that's
US is
crypto in
now killing
general.
crypto. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the US is now killing crypto, right? I mean, how serious can you take that? That's some of the shit's super cringe, right? Some of the stuff is super entertaining. We're gonna see. I mean, regulations are finally picking up, right? So the EU with Mika did a great job. I don't have much faith in the US because the political landscape is, from a European point of view, is a bit weird. We're gonna see what happens after the elections, but I don't have high hopes for the US to lead anything anymore. Right? They're too busy with themselves or whatever's going on. Everyone hates each other on a different scale. So yeah, Asia will be a main driver. The East in general will be a main driver. The EU has it's not perfect, but it's a good start framework. So I hope this will clear up the fork a bit, but who knows? I mean, stuff can change on a daily basis. It's just, okay, to be fair, it's not like they're coming out tomorrow out of the blue and gonna ban all of crypto. So there will be some time. But I think we're leaving the Wild West times. It's still Wild West, right? But it's more an end of an era. It's not too long, and then stuff has consequences. I'm not sure if I remembered this correct, but they're now going after Logan Paul for Crypto Zoo, which
I
took
don't
like,
know if the authorities, I haven't heard that. I know a lot of people are pointing it out. He offered to give the money back, but never did give any money back. So I would not be surprised. He's a big enough name. He'd be a great guy for, if Gary Gensler wants to make a little video about him. And
yeah.
so I
I mean,
imagine, but yeah, it's totally different world, and I feel like it is kind of the death of an era in a lot of ways too. And we've come a long ways. If you think back to just 2017, you had like Weed Coin, and it was just a Bitcoin fork, but it's named Weed Coin. So of
yeah,
course, everyone would use it for that purpose. I mean, you look at the things people are building today, it's pretty amazing in a very short amount of time.
yeah.
So with the death of one era, I guess comes the birth of another. But
Yeah, it will be interesting. It will be super interesting. I hope that the ecosystem, so the token ecosystem on the XRPL will grow, right? And less focus is on Ripple. I mean, if it's for XRP, that's absolutely fine, but there are a lot of good things that can be built on the XRPL. Maybe we get the NFT grace finally happening on the XRPL. I'm not sure about that. We're gonna see what happens when the next bull run starts. So everyone keeps building. Meanwhile, everyone on Twitter is a financial expert and is discussing how whatever happens. It's quite fun. People should take things with a grain of salt and chill a bit, right? And if you still think I'm gonna kill Ripple and the XRPL, you should really do some research on how things work, because I'm worried about the money you put in crypto, because you probably shouldn't be control of it.
yeah, there's some crazy theories out there, and I make fun of people too. Oh, you've made this date, or ISO is gonna, but I've done that plenty of times myself. I remember the first time around, I knew with certainty when Ripple was gonna, settle this case because the SEC settled with Tesla and they settled with EOS, and of course that happened on this day and it was gonna happen again. And it's so complicated. It's a global thing, and there's so many things swirling around, and you try to get dates down. Good luck at that.
Yeah. So the best thing was when you took the tweet where I said I voted nay on ISO 222, right? And you took a screenshot. So when I saw that, I was like, well, that fucker, he could have at least quoted it, right? So he did the retweet. But then I was like, and I was working on a troll campaign, so I had some content laid out. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna try this. I want to see how this works, because I have this thing I'm working on, which is called I became an XRPL influencer, so you don't have to. And you then did this tweet, and I could see after like the first hour or something, this was taking off. So I was like, shit, screw what I've done. I need to game that and push this as far as possible. And I did this for like 48 or 72 hours, right? And people went ballistic. The messages I got people who sent me like a shitload of text on why ESO is important and what it's going to do for the financial future, and who the fuck are you to not let this happen. And I was blown away, because I was like, dude, you're probably a grown-up person with a real job, hopefully, earning money, and you're writing me this message on Twitter. What's wrong? Right? And even then, I'm still getting messages about that. So maybe I should release the compilation of the best replies in terms of why, when the day when I blocked ISO 222, that was super fun. But it just also, it shows that we need more educational content. But then I did the educational content as well, right? And I'm also getting people telling me that the things I'm saying are wrong, even they are mostly based on the official documentation of the XRPL, right? So my favorite thing, I'm not going to name the guy because that's going to cause another shitstorm, but the conversation I had about, yeah, the XRPL can work offline. No, just fucking no, right?
Yeah.
And you then you then go from a high level statement down to the next level where people try to be correct for whatever reason, until it ends up in a huge argument of grown-up people screaming at each other because everyone wants to be right. So every piece of real education is always highly appreciated, because I think it's important. On the other hand, I think we lost a lot of people already. And not because I'm such a cunt on Twitter. It's because people want to be validated, and they want their beliefs to be validated, and they want to hear that they're gonna get rich. That's what they want. And if you say something that goes against that, that's never ending well.
Yeah, I think XRP holders got a rough run too, man. Because like, if you're in a coin, it just doesn't perform great. You know, you have this literally like a month before everything takes off. Especially if you're in the US, might not seem as bad if you're not out, but like everywhere you trade, you're not allowed to trade anymore. And it was just like this huge thing. So I think a lot of people, rightfully so, are pretty angered about that. How much more would it have gone up if not? See, that's the question you have to ask that. You don't know that. You don't go, well, we hit a full bull run and it just underperformed or XYZ, you know. So I think that's been tough for people. I'll tell you this though, the part I like about the XRP community, if I go and start saying something like, you know, Polkadot or Cardano is going to be pegged to go, like, those people are going to run in a validator or developers, or, you know, they're not going to say anything. They're not going to have these discussions. But you know, from David, you know, all the way through the ecosystem, people will take time out of their day to say, well, this is how it actually works. And they'll really have these in-depth discussions with just everyday people like me that are on there. Like, I'm not a developer. I don't run any infrastructure. Who the hell am I to even have an opinion? But people will sit there and they'll talk through stuff with me. And I think that's pretty special to XRP, because I don't see that throughout crypto where, you know, Vitalik's going to take time out of his day to, you know, sit there and teach me about XR, or, you know, in that case, Ethereum. Like that seems to be special about this ecosystem, really trying to put out facts about functionality, where this is going, its capabilities. And I think that's quite different.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. So it's super easy to get help, right? I mean, even if I want to know something, there are so many people I can hit up, and I usually get a reply from most people like within the hour, right? And that's super amazing. On the other hand, we also have a lot of not so great stuff that you don't see that much on other blockchains, but it is what it is, right? So we just have to deal with this. Will this change if the market changes? I don't know. Would XRP have gone much higher if the lawsuit didn't happen? I don't know. Right? Well, who knows? It's like a bit crying about unrealized losses because he didn't sell the top. Gonna happen all the time, right? And then to be fair, if you zoom out of the chart, yeah, it's below all-time high, no question. Could it perform a bit better compared to the rest of the market? Yes, it could. Is it doing bad? No, it's not, right? And that's why every time we have these little short pumps and we're going up like 5 cents and then we're coming down 5 cents again, and people be like, oh yeah, this is so painful, blah blah blah. Yeah, welcome. Markets do what markets do. There's not always a logical explanation, right? So, and then it's always like, oh yeah, the price is suppressed. Well, that's one way to look at it. Or someone accumulated a bunch of coins for a cheaper price and they're sitting on a big bag, and it just makes sense for them to sell back down, right? Or someone is longing or shorting, and then the explanation I see the least when it comes to XRP price changes is like, well, that's the market, right? I mean, Bitcoin pumps, everything goes up, right? Everyone understands that. Then Bitcoin goes down, the whole market goes down. Everyone is like, why is this happening?
Right.
I mean,
You know,
welcome to crypto.
one thing also looking at XRP, that idea always kind of drives me nuts. It's suppressed or it's cheap. I mean, it's the number 4 coin in the world. You just read the stats off, how much daily volume. Like, can't be that suppressed because it's not like coin number 100. I mean, it's still a significant
Yeah.
asset in the world of cryptocurrencies. And we're buying a high valuation. If you're an investor, I know you're not, and we're expecting it to do well because we think it's going to be that great. But I don't think the word suppressed is so great again because it is such a significant asset within crypto. It's not like it's being squished down to nothing. It's it's
Yeah.
consistently one of the top cryptos in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's not as bad as people think. I mean, I get this, right? So if you put a huge amount of money in, well, let me put it this way, right? So I was early in Bitcoin. Did I buy a shitload? No, I didn't, right? I mined a couple of them, lost half of them, and then sold most of what I had around the time when Mt. Gox collapsed. Then I took a short break and then I came back. I totally ignored Ethereum, right? Everything Ethereum related, I totally ignored that. Biggest mistake from my whole life, right? So I should have spent more time looking in Ethereum and fully understanding how this stuff works and exploring the ecosystem and learn about it, because there would have been a lot of money to be made. Um, my feeling is a lot of people came into XRP, a majority, pretty late. And they're now pissed because this is not performing the way they want, and they're usually getting outperformed by the rest of the market. Well, that's part of the game. So I know some people know what you hold. Well, it depends, right? If you are a trader, then you probably won't trade XRP that much. From my point of view, I wouldn't trade XRP. If you are a holder, then holding XRP can be painful, but it is what it is. I mean, the idea of getting rich overnight, and goes back to the when you said flip the switch, right? They just were talking about this on the space today where someone explained to the crowd how this terminology was coined when Brad said something about this and this needs to happen, and then a switch can be flipped, and then this and that happens, right? And then people now have this literally idea of the pressing a button and everything happens, and we're shooting up, and it's gonna happen. Like people think that the activation of AMM will boost the price into oblivion. It's not gonna happen, right? And I understand that some people are sad or bad about it, but like I said, I don't hold many XRP. I don't look at the price. I don't really care. So it's kind of being an outsider in a niche group, right? So I know what is going on. I understand all the sites, but it doesn't affect me. So I sometimes make snarky comments about it, and not everyone likes that, but out of the game.
well, I think another thing is looking back, it's very clear. But there was a time after that 17 bull run, ICOs were dead. Ethereum was kind of a mess, and the price reflected that. And I think you're reasonable if you thought, you know what, payments, that was going to be the killer app. I've seen David during that time talk about that too, where DeFi maybe it does something someday, but payments is the clear path. And we saw at least for the last bull run where, the money went. And what was the killer app? It wasn't payments, it was DeFi. it wasn't like that early. Like, yeah, looking back, you can say, well, what an idiot. We should all be in DeFi. But at the time, it seemed like payments were the way to go, and Ethereum was kind of waffling. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to switch back around and see this explosion in payments and applications people are using. And, tomorrow's going to be something different, I'm sure. But,
Yeah,
looking back, it's easy to see the right path. And I should have, done
of
X,
course,
Y,
yeah.
Z.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, once you experience something, it's always easy to be smart about it, right? And he said this himself when he was like, well, we totally ignored that, and in retrospect, that was a mistake. Yeah. So it's too late now. Now we're a bit smarter than before, right? Um, just keep in mind, if you want to chase the latest flavor of whatever is happening in crypto, it's super easy on Ethereum to do that. Huge user base. They're jumping into everything. They don't care about fees, right? They don't care about the complexity of something. I remember when the whole yield farming stuff was coming up, and one of my mates sent me like, oh, here's the instructions to do something, and then you get like, I don't know, 1,000 APY, whatever, right? And it was a text like this, and it was like 20 steps of, you need to switch from here to there, you need this wallet, you need to do this, you need to interact here, you need to stake, you need to stake your stuff here, and then you get the yield, and then you need to restake the yield, and then you're taking a loan out against that yield,
Right.
and then you stake that. And I was reading that, and I was like, I'm not going to do that, right? And they all made a shitload of money, and I was like, yeah, okay, that was stupid. Should have taken an hour to do this, right? Yeah. Afterwards, you're smart. So XRP can't chase the latest flavor that fast, based on how the ledger works, and based how our governance work, and based how the ecosystem is set up, and based on how many developers we have, and based on how many people we have that are willing to spend or use their XRP on something, right? So this is a very holder centric ecosystem. And then I think the next biggest group is speculators. And then the rest of whatever is left are people that are going to use something. And then that's split up between NFT, digital assets, gambling, whatever, right? So the user base for these things isn't that big. If I would have to do what we have done in the past, in the past 3 years, and I said this on another space, I would probably not pick the X from a business point of view, right? Just from, oh, we need to pay bills. I wouldn't pick the XRPL again, because I would be like, well, this is not mature enough from a customer base point of view. This might be different in 5 years, but if you want to pay your bills and you want to get revenue in, right, there are better places to go. However, from a technology point of view, in terms of dealing with payments, and how you can settle payments, yeah, best technology out there, right? So I'm smarter now, but I also don't want to go elsewhere, right? I don't want to port this completely over to Ethereum just because I think there's a bigger user base, because we know the XRPL inside out, we know the code base, right? We have highly skilled C++ devs, so we're going to stick with this, and we're just going to ride this through the end. So, and if XRP is going to go to $5, then Zach had that theory yesterday, which I disagree with, but he said if the price goes higher, more people will spend their XRP on something, which I totally disagree with. But hopefully I'm wrong and he's right, and we're all gonna win.
Well, I'm hopeful as we get more stuff too, because we saw when they just started introducing, issued assets on the, that started to become a thing where people were trading for all sorts of craziness. Now, most of it was nothing, but we saw at least some inclination of people to like try to trade into stuff. And I think we get some more applications, and I think people will use their XRP and invest in other things and use it.
I hope so. Right? I mean, that's what I want to see. I want people to use the XRPL for payments. And I said this a lot of times. My dream is I'm rocking up to the gas station, I'm filling up my car, I'm getting a Red Bull and a Snickers bar, and I can pay, and they show me a QR code, and I scan this with my Zum wallet or Summon wallet. I swipe, I'm sending XRP or any issue token from the ledger to the merchant. They're going to exchange that on the DEX, and they're going to end up with digital euros, right? Or whatever that is, some sort of stable coin. And we are closer to that if you look at free pay, right? So there is a POS system that can handle that. So we're making steps into the right direction. We now have decent on and off ramps inside ZAM, right? Which is super awesome. So it's getting better. There are also huge steps forward in terms of onboarding someone, right? Because that's something I complained about for 2 weeks and the team for the past 2 years. I'm like, dude, if I meet someone at the supermarket, when I talk about crypto, I want to onboard them. This is not a 5-minute conversation, right? Not saying you should use Atomic Wallet, right? Because they had their issues, but just to give you an example, if you download Atomic Wallet, the user has to pick a password, and they're ready. It takes 30 fucking seconds. So I can onboard someone into crypto with Atomic Wallet. If I want to onboard someone into ZAM, that takes a while. I know there are steps being taken to make this easier moving forward, but these are all these small stepstones where people outside of Ripple are building things to get other people in and get other people familiar with this and make the usage of the tools we have way easier. And that's what I want to see, and that's what I'm here for, right? I mean, it's exciting. I immediately have to think about because I'm just looking at the charts again, and I look at Bitcoin, and people always bring this example of, oh, you can't buy a coffee with Bitcoin. Yeah, right. Then you say, well, you could use Lightning, and then people be like, yeah, but Lightning, there's only 5,000 Bitcoin locked up. Like, yeah, okay, so what we're talking about, buying a coffee or buying 10 Lamborghini? What we're talking about, right? So there's enough liquidity to buy a coffee. Is this still the best solution? No, you should buy your coffee with XRP. Do we have someone who's pushing that forward? We have some people who are pushing this forward, but it's a very, very small group, right? We have a lot of people talking about this, but we have not so many people building this. So everything that Weeds and the team does, I'm super excited for. The partnerships they came up with in the past 12 months, super exciting. All the awesome stuff I know about that's not open to the public yet, also super awesome. So in the past 16 months, this ledger has made more progress from my point of view than in the whole of its history before. And I know a lot of people will disagree, right? That's just my personal view. We're opening this up to the regular folks, and this is becoming more about payments, and that's what the XRPL should be about. Yeah, banks gonna do cross-border payments, and RippleNet will have CBDCs, and Palau is hopefully, and I beg for this, that Palau is issuing their stablecoin on mainnet, which is, by the way, this is something I also don't understand. To me, the Palau pilot was one of the best things that happened to the ledger. No one was really talking about this. Oh, it's Palau. It's a small island. It's just a few thousand people. Oh, they don't even have a central bank, blah, blah, blah. This was super exciting. This was technically our El Salvador. We should have been all over this, right?
Yeah.
No one gave a shit. In the beginning, people were hyped about this, but it died off for the next dangling carrot pretty quick. So that's what I want to see. I want to see fucking payments by normal people for goods and services. That's what I want. Could be XRP, could be a stable, who cares, right? As long as they use the ledger, I'm happy with that, right? And if everyone is getting rich overnight, all power to you. I'm rooting for you. I just don't see it happen. So I mean, I had this conversation yesterday about, oh, I'm being so mean, right? And people be like, oh, you need to lead by example, and you need to be more nice. I'm really trying. And I had this conversation with a lot of people, and I don't know why this is, but my timeline is usually filled with bullshit. And I'm not even in, I did this for quite a time, right? But I'm no longer really interacting with them. Of course, if I see that some account is telling us that the settlement is happening tomorrow, or we're going to be backed by gold or whatever, of course I'm going to make fun of this. I think when we go back into, I think this has been ignored for too long, and that's why these accounts were able to build this huge following, and they can now say whatever the fuck they want, and people would be like, yeah, but that's the thing, right? So, um, everyone who always complains about how I am, usually if I say something stupid or I troll someone, go to my profile, check my highlights. There's a high chance that there is a nicely written explainer up there. For most of the stuff, there's an audio version, so you don't have to read it. And there are also videos, so you have a few moving pictures, and you can ask questions. And if you ask questions in a normal way, right, without being a dick straight away, you're also getting a normal answer. And if you have technical questions, DMs are open. I'm available on pretty much every single social media messaging platform that exists. Even if you have an argument with me, like or a bitch fight, how some people would say, I'm still gonna reply to you, right? If you be nice. Sorry for the cat, but it's gonna freak out if I allow it to go away. So people should reach out. Yeah, I try to be more nice, and I want to put out more educational content moving forward. When I started, I didn't think it's that much work, right? Because you have to research them. Even if it's a topic I know about, I still have to double check what I want to say with the documentation. Then I need to write something up. I'm now using AI, so I throw everything in. I ask the AI a couple of questions. I let it pre-write the text, and I tweak it, and then I have to rewrite it, and then I have to throw it in my AI voice version. So I have to listen to myself like 5 or 6 times. That's easily an hour, and just audio work for a 5-10 minutes explainer. And so I didn't think it's that much work. So everyone who does some sort of content, or shout out to you. And I now know it's a lot of work. Would like to do more, but sadly, going back to what I said earlier, a lot of people don't want to be educated. So the chances of someone who already knows me and what I'm doing is probably going to read this. Someone who's new and has never heard about that, and I saw that with the ISO stuff, they gonna have an argument with me about why I'm wrong. And so that's usually how it goes. I'll try to become better, but I also have to say there's a high chance I'm not going to change because, and I said this yesterday, because I don't want to, right? I literally at the point where I'm like, I don't care, right? Like me or not, who gives a shit?
I think most people have fun with it too, to be honest. Now, I know some people get, pretty serious about that, but most people out there are having fun with it, and they understand it. And I'm kind of different. Like you talk about that tweet where obviously I was trolling people with you
Yeah,
canceled ISO. Yeah, I do that on Twitter. I'm not going to come on the YouTube channel here and tell, breaking news, Daniel canceled ISO 2020, what so
yeah.
people should kind of get that feeling that you mess with people a little bit on Twitter when the time's appropriate. And I don't see a problem with that.
Thanks for my troll validation.
There you go.
Then becoming a better person had just been canceled by you. Thanks.
That's it. I say cancel
Yeah.
that. All right, buddy. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to come down here and chat a little bit. And let's see how things progress, and hopefully we can have you back on.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.